We good? Hi, I'm Marisa. This was the title that I was supposed to do, but sticking with my theme, I've changed it all. So first of all, I want to highlight somebody, because this is why we do the work we do, right? So bear with me, and I started with these on the slides, and I said, no, they just want to look at the pictures. Okay, so this is Hannah. Some of my favorite memories from high school were connected to the NIH SEPA program. Months of after-school hours in a storeroom preparing plates and hanging out with my partner in crime, Grace Ludlow. The hour-long drives to and from Butte that allowed the two of us to skip school and get first-hand experience. In Montana, it's her words, not mine. To skip school in quotes and get first-hand experience in Montana Tech labs. The afternoon spent laughing and annotating the genome of our newly discovered phage in a coffee shop downtown. I developed laboratory skills that later helped me find employment as an undergraduate at the Fields Laboratory at MSU's Center for Biofilm Engineering. I learned about the scientific process, how to work in a team, how to fail, and how to talk science to others. But perhaps most importantly, I learned that the first step in succeeding at anything is taking the step. Grace and I opened up an entire world for ourselves simply by saying yes to the opportunity Dr. Pedulla and Mrs. Urban offered to our classroom. I carried that lesson forward into college. I spent the summers as a field technician doing grasshopper surveys for the USDA. I spent the school year working with a grad student to study the spatial localization of microbes in groundwater environments using confocal microscopy. I found other passions too. Perhaps because of the mentorship I'd received in high school, I found a great deal of fulfillment in mentoring middle and elementary school students. I took on a minor in writing and discovered the art of communicating science was just as exciting to me, if not more so, than being in lab. After graduating with my microbiology degree, I wasn't ready to settle into a single path. So I went on a month-long backpacking trip through northern Scotland with my sister, a trip I haven't stopped dreaming about since, then moved to Darrington, Washington, hoping to find an intersection of the various passions I'd developed throughout college. For the next year, I worked as an outdoor educator through AmeriCorps, teaching science and outdoor recreation skills to students K through 12. I also began working remotely for a family-operated fly fishing business called Montana Casting Company as a web copyist and marketer. Now I'm in Florida working part-time, writing the script for a graphic novel and attempting to start up an indie studio with a good friend. It's not where I pictured myself being just a few years ago, but I don't have any regrets. I'm always learning, always looking forward to what comes next, and I wouldn't be here braving the first steps on an uncertain path if not for the many voices that have encouraged me to test the bounds of what's possible along the way. So this is why we do what we do, and writing, yeah, she should write. So I just wanted to just put it all in a nutshell for you guys, right? Once we got the funding, SEPA 1, right? 28 teachers, 8,000 students from Libby to Baker. SEPA 2, right? Phages. Teachers, 6 brick teachers with 6 new Mentee teachers. The 5-year goal, and you can evaluate, Chris, how we are. The teachers can independently prepare and deliver phage discovery in their classrooms. Okay, the school's locations and teachers are quite different, and they took individualized approaches. Okay, Capitol High School, they did mentor independent and then together in the mentee classes. This was year 4. I'm talking about not this current year. And they have made a SciEd talk, and this is the abstract that I referred to that I wish I would have written it myself. I'm so proud of this. Here are the first-hand accounts from a mentor-mentee pair immersed in the 5-year Phages SEPA project at Montana Tech, where the traditional professional development models are redefined. Focusing on empowering middle and high school teachers, the program trains participants in mentor-mentee pairs to run remote microbiological labs equipped to discover phages in public school classrooms. Through thoughtful recruitment and immersive top-tier professional development, the Phages program creates meaningful connections between teachers and the scientific community, teachers become catalysts capable of sustaining long-term impact on student research experiences and science learning beyond the support of the program. So they're going to present this at Syed. I'm going to go to cheerlead, and we'll find out what's great to eat in Salt Lake City. C.R. Anderson Middle School, Megan and Jared, the mentor, independent mentee, mostly solo 7th grader last year. Really convenient that their classrooms are right next to each other and we could run back and forth, and just thousands and thousands and thousands of students over the years, so unbelievable. Jefferson High and Boulder Middle School, Steve and Connie, you saw the photos, you heard them talk. They've formulated the concept along with several other teacher pairs about making the high school students into these mentors for junior high students, and other groups of you are thinking, talking, or have already been doing this. Baker Junior Senior High School, Linda Ross and Jessica Boggs. What a classroom setup, at least for the high school level. And I'm glad that chain, that near peer mentoring, the laddering that we've talked about throughout the weekend is happening, because the 8th graders in her science research class, the 7th graders seeing that. I mentioned it to her yesterday. It reminds me of a judo club where you have these little kids with the little yellow belt, and then the bigger kids with the orange belt, and then these bigger kids with the green and blue. And oh my gosh, there's the teenagers with the brown belts. And the black belts, well, they're black belt, first degree means you're now beginning to learn judo. But they always have that next step to look up to, right? And so that's the concept that I'd love to see go. Columbus High School, retired Mr. Robin Hain. Not yet, no, please no. And I had stuff written under here, but the single slideshow isn't allowing me to read it. But what a culture that they're establishing in Columbus, which is, let me just say it's a unique environment for people to teach things like water quality, perhaps. Anaconda High School, Kate, multiple mentors. She's the 11th of the 12th standing. But again, fabulous pair, fabulous work that they did with it. So you've heard the students that were mentored by Kate. We're so lucky to have her, and excited for the future. I think I mentioned this to you guys yesterday, that our goal was to have you be independent, and darn if the pandemic didn't make that happen even faster. And maybe, for me, it forced me to be able to use the Zoom, but maybe you all stepped up to, oh God, I gotta make these plates by myself, and so the teachers took over. We were thrilled to have Chris join us, and from her photos, don't jump on me. When I gave a talk at the end of year 4, I said her photos showed equipment, engagement, and teamwork, and I'm not going to show you the 55 slides, just one for each. The oohs and ahs when using the electric pipetter. I'm shaking, so I'm pushing the button. Engagement. No, just look at that picture. No, look at this picture. I don't need any quotes. Yeah, when are you going to get 25 students to all listen to you at once and be off their phones? It's awesome. And teamwork, I have a couple pictures. Us. And because it's this group, they work together. Everybody stepped up, and Teal in the back, thank you for making this possible, because he did a lot of the running. Okay, and Tammy just walked in, so it's the perfect time to tell her the cog, the essential cog in the meeting is Tammy, and you all know it. I need to be told what's next usually, and Tammy always knows, so thanks. But Mr. and Mrs. McCauley, I pulled the teamwork pictures, and for some reason the computer's going ahead, which is not acceptable for the next part. How do you do it? No, none of this.
Use timings, turn that off. Don't turn it off.
Okay, good?
Yeah.
Okay, more teamwork. There's a thing, it's not just, it's every level of teamwork. Us with each other, us with the teachers with each other, the teachers with the students, and the students with the students. And that's the only way it's going to work, right? We can't pipette for them. We can't hold the tube for them, although there was a great tube holder. we can't do it for everybody. They have to help each other. What you've done over these last decades is phages that, tell us about the world. How are phages related to each other? That's the basic science, and maybe the potential for phage therapy to save people who have superbugs infections. And 21 sequenced and annotated in GenBank, one more this current semester. And then Anna Dia is adopted annotation. She's doing the monster phage very bravely. I went back to that Rhodes interview question, do you see yourself testifying before Congress? And, but they're doing it, right? The teachers are going and stepping forward and saying, no, actually education does matter. You guys want STEM industry in the state? Kind of important that we teach students about science. So I applaud your bravery. We expanded to new audiences thanks to Robin Haynes' outreach to the Flathead, and that's something that we're really proud of, and so thanks for that work. One of our program director, Dr. Tony Beck's favorite word is synergies, okay? He wanted examples of how our program fed off of others, how we leveraged funds and programs to integrate them, and so synergies is something that the SEPA-IMBRI pipeline, we started this pipeline as a pilot in 2018, and then we reached and met with IMBRI, and they agreed to take our students for some slots in their summer, and Trent, Lenny took advantage of those programs. Kylie also did. And so, the IMBRI funding is what hired me. I don't know if I mentioned that back in '05. So it's full circle synergies. And the Phages program in particular, the pipeline program. So the other synergies is that I use you all as how we're going to use this microscope, what opportunities we're going to provide to rural students, to rural K through 12, to Montanans, to have a microscope that they can access, right? And so I don't think I would have gotten the funds without y'all. And I want us to look at all the phages and look at the phages on the bacteria. And now with Dr. Jack Skinner's EDS unit, which was on one of the pictures and is not on this one yet, it's on there now, to see where those nanoparticles are with the phage and where's the iron and where's the calcium, right? We were going to be able to answer those questions. And so, you've heard about that. I think the evidence is going to be pretty clear because the question was, could you guys do it independently? And well, you've done it independently, but we extended the program, we got new equipment, and so it is this community of equipment, engagement, and teamwork that came out of her slides that I think is reflective of not just the outreach visits, but the summer academies and our symposium here. Thanks to all those teachers and all the students. It was funded by lots of different folks, but particularly the NIH SEPA program. And so it's been a great partnership. I will take questions, but I have one back to you, so. No, I still do. None?
If you could go back to when you first applied for the BRIC grants and with the perspective of what it's become, I want to phrase this right. Is there anything you would do differently or anything you would tell yourself going into that BRIC program?
Get snacks for teachers. No, I mean, it's just been Chris isn't here, Chris Doyle isn't here, but it wouldn't have been possible without him, and so maybe nothing different. I'm just thrilled with all of you. I'm happy he's Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. I'm happy that you all have had these experiences, and I've gotten to know some of you really well, and some of you pretty well, some of you kind of well, and any more before mine? When the students wouldn't answer me, and there was one time when I got frustrated when I was like, just ask me a question, because I would make them ask a question, and one wouldn't. I was like, what's your favorite color? And like trying to tell, just ask me what my favorite color is. I don't care. And I guess I'd try to be a more patient person. So yes, I do have some regrets in life. Try not to. So I guess the last thing is I would ask, well, what's next after Phages, right? What do you think? Seeing can open people's eyes to science? I like it.
Poster child.
I'm on version 21 right now. I've had a little time this spring sitting in my house. We're going to have an awards ceremony. I have some handouts with those specific aims, hypotheses, if you want to chat around just after we do our awards. If you don't have time, you can take the paper and run away. But the time is very tight, so think about your life. Think about what role you might want to play in such an endeavor. The things that were on there that you could actually read on the piece of paper I'm going to give you are that high school to junior high mentoring, more Native American outreach, and of course having some students come in for microscope workshops. Oh, wait, having some teachers come in for microscope workshops, smaller groups, shorter period of time, maybe beginning in advance. And these are just brainstorms, so unfortunately timeline's pretty short, but we're excited to hear your ideas too, and if you have something that fits into this or a better idea. Yeah, so that's the next hypothesis-driven NIH grant.